What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Mcfarlane Toys Mortal Kombat 11 Kabal. And so here we have Kabal pose and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Kabal does come with two accessories. We do get his dual Chinese hook swords, which look really nice. I am disappointed they are made of a soft rubber, but that's neither here nor there. He also gets the Mortal Kombat Mcfarlane display stand. Other than that, we don't get anything else with Kabal, which is unfortunate. Alternate hands would have been really nice. But with that out of the way, guys, let's actually have a closer look at Kabal. And so here we have a closer look at the Mcfarlane Kabal, and I think they've done a really great job capturing the look of Kabal from Mortal Kombat 11. If you're not familiar with the design of Kabal, this is how he looks in his base costume in Mortal Kombat 11, and you know what? I think they did a really good job of capturing the look of Kabal. Yeah, it's not the classic look that we've all grown to accept, but it's still really nice, and it still captures the essence of the character. Now let's actually take a look at his face here. He is wearing his gas mask, which in this timeline he was burned to a crisp by Kentaro and saved by Kano, but this is of course Revenant Kabal, so he's not really human anymore. Really do like the design of his gas mask here, and one thing I do like is that you can make out parts of his skin underneath his mask, which is a really nice touch. I am really glad that they did that. And something to note is that the mask is a little bit asymmetrical. You can see that this part does look like it's broken. Actually, that might actually be broken. I honestly don't know. It does look like a piece might be missing, but they don't exactly line up either, so maybe that's intentional. I have to go back and take a look at it. But yeah, really liking the look of Kabal. You can see he has these little tubes, probably to help with the breathing apparatus. And it just looks really nice. One thing that is throwing me off is his Anton Chigurh haircut. I'm used to seeing Kabal with really long hair, so seeing him with the Chigurh haircut is throwing me off just a little bit, but it still overall looks good. I just would have liked to see longer hair, and that's not a knock against the figure, it's just a knock at the design. So, taking a look at his costume, oh man, does he need to find a new wardrobe. I think they did a really good job with his costume right here. It's a little bit mixed match, but again, that's not knocking the figure, it's just how he's designed in the game. You can see he kind of has like an overcoat thrown over his armor with his shirt. Kind of looks like a burlap sack, to be quite honest. It's a really nice design. It's not what I'm used to seeing with Kabal. I like the MK3 design. I think that's his best design ever. But I still think this is a really nice and cool look for him. You can see his armor has two different colors in it. We do have the gunmetal here and then the silver, which translates onto the strap right here, which is a loose piece, so I am surprised that that is separate. You can see some of his tubes right here going onto what I would guess would be a rebreather right here, providing oxygen, although would he still be breathing oxygen as a Revenant? That is a really good question. But something that does make me happy is that they continue the sculpt on his armor even on the backside. So underneath his, it's not really a jacket, it's like the overcoat of a jacket. It's like the overhang. But anyway, underneath this overhang, we do have armor sculpted underneath that, so that is a really nice little attention to detail. Really do like that. Having a look at his arm, the burlap sack look continues, and it honestly does look like his costume is just thrown together, because it looks like his sleeve is just wrapped around his arm, and then he has an armband right there, and it looks like it would wrap around his bicep right there. I will point out that his arm does seem kind of thin. That's kind of strange, seeing as how Mortal Kombat characters you'd expect their arms to be bulky. His is kind of thin, but then again, he is a runner character, so I guess it does make sense. It does look really nice. And one thing I do have to point out is that he has some sharp bits on him. These are not soft plastic. Well, they are soft, but they are really dense, and if you push in hard enough, you will end up poking your fingers, which it does hurt, because like I said, these are dense plastic. Even though they are soft, they're really dense, so they can hurt you if you're not being careful. I do like the design. It looks really nice, and it fits the Kabal look, especially because it looks like parts of a hook sword that he just threw onto his outfit. Having a look at the rest of his costume right here, you can see the wrapping right here, which looks really good. Mcfarlane has done a really great job with the costume. You can see a little buckle right here holding this wrap piece together, and it is like a wrap. It's not really a belt. There are aspects of a belt on it, but it's like a belt over some wrapping right there. And then we have the rest of what I would guess would be the rest of his coat right here. And you can see it's just like folded and held together by this belt and the wrapping. So overall, really like that. I think one thing that would really bring this out is a nice wash. If they had thrown over a nice wash throughout all this green, I think that would look so much better. But for what it is, it does look nice. And then his pants do continue that burlap sack look, which it's kind of strange, but at the same time, he's a revenant. He really doesn't care what he's wearing. As long as he gets the job done. You can see more of those patches right there. We do have his knee pads, which again have that same design that we saw in the gloves. And these are very hard plastic. These have no give. So if you're not careful with these will hurt you and or break off. So do be very careful with his knee pads. It's a really nice design, but again, caution is required because it is hard, solid plastic, and these might break or hurt you as they look. Same thing with these little side blades. They're not really blades. I really don't know what to call these. These little spikes coming out of his calves right here. These are also really hard. You can see they really don't have much give to them, so do be careful when messing with his legs. He has 2 points that do appear to be really sharp. Really liking the leather wrap look for his boots. Now, one thing I'll point out is that it's a nice design right here. It does hide the joint really well. But that's also a downside because you don't know which way the joint is facing. And because it is a ball hinge, you can end up moving it the wrong way and it snaps. So do be careful when moving this around. It is a softer piece, so it does have some flex to it. I would just kind of try to find out where that joint is facing before moving it. You can try to gauge it by moving it forward and back. If it does move like this, it's in the right position, but if you're realizing it's not moving, you do need to try to adjust that. So do be careful with Kabal. So other than that little design flaw, I think Kabal here is a very well done figure. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him compared to other figures you may have in your collection. And so here we have Kabal posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Kabal posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Kabal posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally, here we have Kabal posed next to a Storm Collectibles Scorpion and a Mcfarlane Mortal Kombat 11 Scorpion. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually move on to his articulation. Now, Kabal does sport the 22 point of articulation that Mcfarlane has been using on a lot of its newer figures. We do have a double ball joint here in the head. Now, unfortunately, because of his hair sculpt and this tube wrapping around his neck, he doesn't really look up all too well. You can kind of force him, but it's not the best look. He can look down, no problem, but then you also bump into this little tube. I guess you can move it around the collar, but I don't think that looks just right. But yeah, he has a lot of stuff up here at the top, which does make him look bulkier than what he really is. He's such a slender character, but he has all this excess bulk on here that I didn't even realize that until I was doing the comparison. So yeah, head on a double ball joint works fine, tilts no problem, can look left and right, really good movement there. We do have a ball joint here in the shoulder, so it does give us a little bit of forward and back movement, some up and down play, but not a lot. Does go out to the side, no problem. He would do a full 360 if it wasn't for this overcoat overhang that does hinder his arms, so you're mainly just going to get about that far before it starts hindering it and pushing it out to the side like that. He does have a bicep joint hidden really nice underneath his burlap sleeves. That does work really nicely. He does have a double bend here at the elbow, giving us much better than 90 degrees, so I do like that. He does have a ball hinge here at the wrist, so it does move up and down as well as all the way around, and you can have it have in and out movement depending on how you have that. Just be careful because, like I said, this is dense plastic, and putting pressure on it could end up either cutting you or poking you or hurting you in some way. He does have a ball joint here at the mid joint. You can see it does move around, does rotate, although he doesn't rotate all too much because of this tube going all the way around up to his torso, so it is slightly hindered. This tube is longer, so you do get better range going that way. This tube is shorter, so you can see it's actually fighting against it. It always wants to return back to normal, so that is a little bit unfortunate. He does have a second ball joint down here underneath his belt piece, so he can lean back about that far. Together he leans about that far. Get some side-to-side movement in there as well as some rotation. It's kind of hard to grab him for his waist rotation because you don't want to apply pressure like this or like this because it hurts. But yeah, he does rotate at the or underneath his coat, skirt, whatever you want to call it. His legs do kick forward to about right there. Not all hindered on the left side. On the right side, it is slightly hindered, but you can get both of them to 90 degrees, so I do like that. Going back, they are completely hindered because the back of this does seem a little bit denser, and you can see they did sculpt his butt back there. Kicking to the side, no problem. Let's see. Yeah, he does a split, so Kabal has no issue doing the splits there. No thigh swivel, but we do have a swivel underneath or right above his knee, so that does work nicely. Then we have a double bend at the knee. Works really good, and you imagine him just running at you and slicing you with that kneecap. Oh, that would suck, in all honesty. And then we have a ball joint here at the ankle, so I do have it with up and down, forward and back movement, but you can rotate that to give him some rocker ankle. It's just really finicky because you don't know how his ankle is placed, and this comes over the joint, so it does hamper how you have him articulated, so you kind of have to feel for it. So yeah, that's one engineering design I would have preferred them not do, but it is what it is. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Kabal posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the Mcfarlane Mortal Kombat 11 Kabal pose for my final thoughts. And overall, Mcfarlane has done a really great job with this figure. I really don't feel like there's any figures Mcfarlane hasn't done a good job capturing for Mortal Kombat 11. I just am not a fan of a lot of the designs. Like Kabal here, there's a lot of things to like about it, but at the same time, there's a lot of things to hate about it, especially from an action figure standpoint, with some things hindering articulation and some things just not working. Overall, I can't say I hate the figure. I absolutely love the way he came out, but there's things that I would have changed on it, such as the hook swords being made of a sturdier plastic. I have no idea why Mcfarlane still makes the swords out of soft, cheap plastic. If anything, it makes the figure feel a little more cheap than what it actually is, because those rubber swords don't really do anything for anyone, and it's really hard to get them to pose right, especially fighting to get it in the hand. The hands are made of a really hard plastic, and putting soft plastic in hard plastic is so difficult. I wish the hands were a little bit softer and the swords were a little bit firmer, but overall, Mcfarlane has done a really good job with Kabal, given the source material. So if you are looking for Kabal, I actually picked mine up from Amazon, and he was about $19.99 when I picked him up. This figure will run you $19.99 at most retailers. I know GameStop is upcharging these for $25. So if you can find them anywhere other than GameStop, I really recommend you pick up Kabal if you're a fan of Mortal Kombat or just want another character to fill out your MK roster. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other Mortal Kombat and Mcfarlane videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time guys, I'll see you later. Take care everyone.